لله ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير الأنام سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. This is welcoming you to another interesting episode of the program, the Dhul Hijah Special. Alhamdulillah, that we started and we are moving. And the month of the Dhul Hijjah is as well moving, and we are inching closer to the Eid itself. May Allah make it easy for us. Allahumma ameen. Let me begin by saying thank you to you for staying tuned on daily basis on this channel for the program Dhul Hijjah Special. Jazakumullahu khairan. And I go on to say thank you to Aspira Nigeria Limited for supporting the program, especially, let me say, for initiating the sponsorship of a program during the month of Dhul Hijjah. Thank you, Aspira Nigeria Limited. On the program, we have different segments, one of which is the Quranic recitation. Now, that's what we can go to now, inshallah. I'm yours in faith, Sheikh Yaqub. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداع إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. You are welcome back. It's still the program Dhul Hijjah Special. And in the studios today, joining me to discuss the topic earning and spending during the Eid is Fadilatu Al-Ustaz Kabir Nasir Al-Asfar. Assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, salam to Allah.
Without much ado, earning, which is and spending, which is part of the courses I just heard you did recently about finance, Islamic finance, and the like. How should a Muslim earn? What are the things to avoid while trying to earn, and why also spending? What are things to be done to be sure that it tallies with the wish of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, thumma salatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's an interesting topic to discuss when we talk about our earnings and our spendings within the beginning of the Hijjah. But of course, this is something that goes well beyond the Hijjah. But because these days are auspicious days, right, and it's something that is very germane, something that is very important for us to discuss. Basically, because we have what are known as essential needs as human beings, by virtue of us being human, would have those needs. And of course, they are food, shelter, water, and of course, clothing. And then scholars infer this from the story in Surah Al-Taha, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was telling Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, ذَلِكَ أَلَّا تَجُوعَ فِيهَا وَلَا تَعْرَى وَأَنَّكَ لَا تَضْمَوْ فِيهَا وَلَا تَضْحَى. In Jannah, you would not need food, water, shelter, or clothing. You would not need to toil under the sun. And scholars infer from this, way before Adam Smith and those economic theories, that these are things that human beings would need basically. So you need to earn to acquire those things. And then of course, there's only one very essential component when it comes to Muslim earning. It must be free of haram. So Muslim earning must be free of riba, there's interest in any way or form. It must be free of gharar. Gharar is undefined as uncertainty, gambling, all these things. It must be free of it. So also must it be not only halal in itself, it must also be wholesome. So whatever we want to transact in, whatever we want to earn, must also be free of those things that Islam deems to be unethical. Our earnings are guided by this principle in the Hijjah, outside the Hijjah. We will now come to our expenses, our expenditures, which is very, very important. We've drawn that line that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Allah, tayyib la yakbalu illa tayyiba. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pure. He will not accept from us except that which is pure. So This is a month that we would spend. We're going to be buying cows, camels, whatsoever to celebrate the Eid. Our source of income must be pure. It must be halal. And then if we want to actually spend on something that is religious, we're going to be buying these rams, we're going to be buying new clothing, we want to go to Eid, we want to enjoy ourselves as halal as possible within this period, then our earning and our expenditure must also be halal. You cannot buy animals that are from haram sources. You can't buy a cow that you got from haram sources. You can't buy a ram and then you say you want to sacrifice this to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't forget that Allah has told us, لَنْ يَنَالَ اللَّهَ دِمَاؤُهَا وَلَا لُحُمُهَا وَلَكِنْ يَنَالُ التَّقْوَى مِنْكُمْ. Allah does not need the flesh, does not need the blood. What He wants is the fear of God with which you bought this animal and then you slaughtered it. So it means, without saying, that your earning must be halal, your spending it must be halal. In as much as possible, Muslims are to avoid what is haram. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us.
Ameen. Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you for that beautiful presentation. If someone is earning from halal, along the line, haram comes in, combining his income, which is a salary, for instance, and sometimes kickback comes in, ritual comes in. Such, when I say ritual, bribes comes in like that, and he feels that my money is okay now. So, or someone has asked me the question, something like, say, I want to buy ram, my money is trapped somewhere. Can I just take a loan from the bank and just buy? So when I get it back, I have my money.
I think we start from the person who has his wealth is mukhtalita. It's mixed with halal and haram. We advise that the Muslim should be very careful with his account. Definitely, every astute business person is going to be very conscious of his account, the profit and loss. There's going to be another column the Muslim will add to it. It's going to be the haram halal column also. So because in business, right, one of the things that we talk about in business, particularly corporate business, Islamically, is what we call purification. That at times, even without you intending it, certain aspects of earnings will come in that are haram. And you have to purify it. And purification is that you have to identify this amount of money and give it out as charity. And then if this charity you give it out, it's more of takhallus, because since it's haram, you are not going to expect any reward from it, save the fact that you feared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the point that you didn't want this to be part of your wealth. And then quickly also on the issue of loan. If you want to get a loan for your ram, it does not have to be interest-bearing loans. If it is interest-bearing loans, then it is impermissible. But in this case, it's haram for him to go for it, but the ram is slaughtered with this is still accepted, which makes it different from wealth that you accumulate from what is directly haram. The difference is this: when you go for an interest-bearing loan, right, it is haram, right? But when you buy something with it, you actually got it. The person willingly gave to you. You have the milkiyah, the possession. So you buy the ram. It's best for you to have avoided it, but of course, you still bought the ram. If you got your money from armed robbery or internet fraud, then it's totally haram. The ram is not even yours. You will not even be rewarded for it.
Jazakumullah khairan. That is the segment that we have to take a look at that important topic, which is earning and spending, especially during the Eid celebration. So let's go to the street and feel the pulse of the people. We want to hear them saying. We'll be right back on the program, Dhul Hijah Special.
My fondest memory of Eid, that was in 1987. I went to my hometown with my dad. Although a lot of people have been around before we arrived at home. In just 5 minutes after arrival, we now left for Eid. And that was my first day of attending Eid at that particular town. The place was so full with series of people, both young and old. All are very, very merry.
Every Eid is memorable to me, but I could refer to when I was young. That year, it means that we used to choose the ram we used to sacrifice. So that was the year we bought a ruder, the big one. And that ruder is as used to me. Even I don't want, I do not want them to kill the ram then. but it has to be killed because that is for the purpose. That's what I'm saying is almost 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Any from haram source, as in working in a company that is basically producing haram source, and the person feels that, okay, I'm working in a bank, riba-based banks. They said it's haram, so I'm not going to sort haram.
So I think, alhamdulillah, I think that was why it was important that that distinction came earlier on. And it's about, we make a distinction between what is haram li kasbihi wa haram li dhatihi. So somebody working in an interest-based institution, yes, we say that, okay, this work, this occupation is haram, but this does not stop you from spending your money for stuff like this. Where it is very serious is wealth that is haram li dhatihi. Wealth that you acquire via internet fraud, which is called Yahoo or Yahoo Plus, as the case may be, or by armed robbery. This wealth is not yours.
We do look at that from the other sides, which somebody just got up in the morning, went in for subi and just found a cow or a ram. I feel, hey, Allah Akbar, I pray to Allah, I need ram. And he gave me ram. Allah Akbar.
Yeah.
It belongs to someone.
Yeah.
And they just trade around and you found it. Kind of person.
Yeah, this is also very important for us to mention. There were times, I'm very sure of last year, people's rams were stolen.
Exactly.
I mean, you just tie it, and of course there are major rustlers also. And when you realize, or you have an inkling, or a little bit of, you have this feeling that this ram is likely to be stolen, you are to avoid it.
Avoid it.
The Messenger of Allah said, فَمَنِ اتَّقَى شُبُهَاتٍ فَقَدِ اسْتَبْرَأَ لِدِينِهِ وَعِرْضِهِ. Stay away from the doubtful matters. So if they are saying that there's a big ram that you also are aware goes for something like 250k, and then somebody is saying that just buy malam for 30k, 50k, you're supposed to suspect that something's wrong. And if you even know, then you cannot buy such ram, because as you said, it is haramun li dhatihi. This person does not possess this animal. It doesn't ever gain possession because it is in itself haram. May Allah make us celebrate.
Because the Father to this period were aimed at improving ourselves in every sphere of our lives, especially the spirituality. Something is haram, do not engage yourself in it. Earning and spending in the cause of Allah must be within the limits of Allah's provisions. Let's look at this before we go. I want to host people. Some of my colleagues, some of them will tell you, Stars, I'm coming to your house. I say, there's no alcohol. And he feels that, oh, don't make no worry. I'm not worrying if our boys. And he says he's coming with his own alcohol. What's your advice?
This is also very essential that when we relate with people. Number one, we should appreciate the fact that somebody, a practicing Muslim, has friends who would say that we're going to come celebrate with you. It's a fine thing. We are not supposed to leave ourselves in an echo chamber, isolated from people. However, we'll draw boundaries also. So look, come around and have the best time. You eat the meat, whether it's barbecue, whether it's boiled, whether it's grilled, whether it's whatever. However, there's not going to be alcohol. Whether you want to bring it or whatsoever, alcohol will not be permissible. And a lot of people would actually listen to us. So
part of extravagance is alcohol itself.
Yeah.
And on that note, we say thank you to Aspira Nigeria Limited. I am using it. My family members are using it. Go to the market and get it. It's around Nigeria, and I told you that across the border you can as well get it, inshallah. It comes with different variants. Beautiful products, beautiful Nigerians, beautiful believers in Allah. I'm Sheikh Yaqub, urging you to join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. Until that beautiful then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
NTA Ìjẹ̀bú Òde aláràgbàyídá ni wá.
Fruits are the sweet and fleshy product of a tree or other part that contains seed and can be eaten